Hey folks, I've got a Warrior X Turbo to have a look at today. And the first point to address before we get into this light too much is I've heard it described as being low powered. And I suppose in that respect, on paper, when compared against, for example, the Olight M2R Pro, at 1800 lumens versus 1100 lumens, then yes, I could think why somebody may be mistaken and describe this as low powered. Let me explain. So a lumen refers to the amount of light radiated from a given source, a light bulb for example. Candela is the intensity of the beam, and lux is the amount of light that hits a particular object that we happen to be pointing the torch at. If you get a light that is not particularly efficient in the use of its lumens, you might not get enough candela and you might not then get enough lux. So if you like, it's kind of, I suppose, driving a car in the wrong gear. Doesn't matter about its power, does it? If the other factors are not there to help, then that may manifest itself in a problem. Now, if you're wanting a kind of relatively small light like this, and it can't be helped, you know, the size of that lens is a limiting factor. You're having to up the power to give you the apparent performance. If, on the other hand, we're going to use a light like this with a considerably larger lens, aside from the fact that this isn't going to kind of fit in your shirt pocket, is it, quite so easily, several things are going to happen for us and make the considerations or issues for the design of this torch a lot easier. First of all, the size of the head. That is going to create a much more efficient use of the lumens than something a lot smaller. I mean, hopefully that should be obvious. Then the way the torch is designed gives them plenty of leeway in terms of being able to muck about with the candela, and then the lux. The size of the head also helps with the heat dissipation, so we don't get the heat issues or as much of the heat issue that we generally expect to find, you know, with a smaller bodied torch. And we can lower the lumen output as well, because we simply don't need it to create the performance. We can get away, using the car analogy, we can get away with putting the car in the right gear. So I really like this type of light where we're not trying to compromise size for performance. So let's have a look what it tells us in the manual about the performance. Now I've flogged that horse to death about the lumen output. 1100 lumens for 6.5 minutes, and then drop down to 55% thereafter. I've not experienced that drop. I think Olight have been really conservative, saying it's only going to hold for 6.5 minutes. Well, 6.5 minutes is pretty decent anyway, but I think like the Javelot Turbo, I didn't find that particularly lost power either. I think we'll find this is the same, but we'll see later. And we've got a low mode of 150. Nothing in the middle. That might be an issue for you, perhaps, I don't know. So, looking at its operation, I don't know whether I mentioned, there's a 21700 fitted in there, which is going to help us again with the run times, and of course we're not pushing it particularly hard because we're the only 1100 lumens. We have the tail cap charging system from Olight there that we're all getting familiar with, as well as the option to screw on the tail cap. And this light, I think, is proving very popular as a kind of weapon mounted light on rifles and things like that, and it's a lot more manageable, I think, than, for example, the Pro, beg your pardon, the Turbo, or the Pro. I've got the Pro back there. A lot more manageable for a weapons light, but I guess that's a matter of opinion. And despite its smaller size, there isn't a massive difference in the apparent performance when you're out and about in the field. The operation is pretty simple. A slight depression puts us onto our low mode, and if you continue to press it, we go on to our high, or if we want to refer to it as turbo, I suppose that we could. We've got a battery warning on there as well. It'll start to vibrate when we're getting a little bit low on the battery. Some other bits and bobs as well that it comes with, this little different tactical ring if you want to put that up on there, and one of Olight's very decent, I think this is nylon, isn't it? Very decent constructed, really stiff holster. Some of the best I've seen on the market, to be honest, these are. So let's take it out and see how it performs. So starting off, we may as well go for it, hadn't we? And just go for its full whack, and as you can see, that intense tight centre spot all the way down. To the end of that path, and no issue at all. And still, as you can see, with at least to me, quite a very respectable amount of peripheral spill, but oh my, that's bright. So you've got all the candela and the lux you can shake a stick at there. Can we get anywhere? It's like a laser beam, isn't it? Let's move on along a bit and just see how well we get along with the heat. Oh, I didn't show you the low mode, did I? There we go. Where are we? If we're interested. That's better, isn't it? Right, I'll crack on. Quite a bit further on now with the Warrior X Turbo, and as I suspected, it's not getting hot at all in the slightest. Those two trees there, 100 metres, as you can see, just absolutely smashes that distance. You can't see any peripheral spill because I'm shining over water here, but you're getting the gist of that candela and lux. Lux again being the amount of light that I can see in a particular pace, and you know what, there's plenty of it on them two trees. As we move down the side of this lake, that's about as far as I can see into that corner. Can I zoom in? Just not focusing. Oh yeah, it is. Yep, no problem. Got one of those trains, you know, that wait till I start recording. I'll just alter my frame rate there just to compensate, because as I zoomed in there, the F ratio dimmed it down a touch. Yeah, that's right, and I'm out to 150 odd metres there. That's really impressive, isn't it? Zoom back out. Just be a bit too bright now. Let me put my frame rate back where it should be. Then go back to our 100 metres again. It's like a blooming laser beam, isn't it? Fantastic little torch. Fantastic. Okay folks, catch you soon.